Alright guys, couple things I left out of the last video. This will be a short uh, follow-up. So let's talk about immersion and frequency lists. So as far as immersion, I mentioned I've been watching dramas, and I'm going to keep a tally of which ones I've gone through. And first one was Kim Samsoon, and then Because This Is My First Life. That's the English name. So that second one has a very nice Substa SRS deck floating around, and my plan is, after the initial first 3 lessons of that Evita grammar deck, which would put me at about 1,200 sentences, my plan was to mine sentences from a frequency list, and namely the best one there is it's called a frequency dictionary of Korean. Supposedly, when you look back on the internet and Reddit posts, it's $50, and I think that was the hardcover version of it. And now the same paperback version, you can order it for about $20. And this book is insanely good. It has the corpus. I think is the only one that uses monologues, dialogues, and speech, not just written. And it's either 10 or 100 million entries, and like 10 or 20% of those are spoken, which I think is really cool. And this thing has just a load of information about each word, nice categorically listed. And I've heard in the I think it was Matt versus Japan mentioned about not mining from frequency lists, and I've been thinking about that, and my thoughts are currently it may be useful, and I know the Otaku was mentioning it as well. And the reason I think it might actually be very useful is because, well, when you're first immersing, you don't understand anything at all, right? So I think and the thing with Korean is there's way more things that you would just consider grammar, colloquialisms. They might be words, but there's way more of these in Korean than Japanese. And I think, so that would be almost the first 200 entries in the most commonly used things are barely words, So, but besides that, I think mining the first 1,500 in that frequency list, maybe I'll give a few samples of how this looks, but I think that'll help you to give you a better chance of actually catching what's in your immersion, because, with the idea of comprehensible input, true, you can brute force it, and then eventually you will get the common words, but I think we still need flashcards for a lot of them in the beginning. So I think sentence mining initially, maybe 1,000, 2,000 words, will help us progress a little bit faster in immersion, and then we kind of should get an idea of what we should immerse with, because currently I'm doing the dramas, and like this weekend there was a typhoon, so I had a chance to binge those, and that's not going to be every weekend because I travel, and sometimes I just I'm gonna try to go from 1 to 2 hours a day of active immersion. So so far that's Korean shows. So the other thing that I didn't mention in the other video is I'm doing repetitive listening, and this was the idea was given by this channel, Motivate Korean, on YouTube, and it's 5 to 7 minute clips, and this is what I do during the day for passive immersion. And these I don't use. They have a podcast that has repetitive listening clips. I use the Talk to Me in Korean Iyagi, which is intended for intermediate learners, and they're full Korean conversations, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm using those from day one, intermediate or not, because I try to listen to each one repetitively for a day or two, as much as I can. I can't always listen passively. Sometimes I can at work, in the evenings and stuff like that. So so that's the passive immersion. So I'm passively immersing in content different from active immersion, and only because for me it's very, I don't know how to rip audio from a drama, and to be honest, I think there's way more rich audio in those conversations because it's just straight talking back and forth, and instead of audio there's other things going on, and stuff like that. So for now, just past the first month, it's gonna be the grammar deck. the second and third units, chapters each had 500 sentences. After that, I plan on sentence mining and just to mention, so those frequency lists have sample sentences in that book, in the frequency dictionary of screen. But what I'm doing is I'm taking the word, let's say, okay, I'm flipping through it, and the words that I don't know, I need a sample sentence. The only thing I have now is a subs to SR deck for that movie, because this is my first life. And I try to look for an I+1 sentence containing that word, and that has nice audio. And the idea is that you've watched that movie already, and you've watched that drama, and you may have an idea of where that came from. Hopefully it's I+1. All right, so hopefully that, and then after the first 1,000 of those, that should put me around 2,500 and or 3,000 sentences, and that's when I'll start to make the monolingual transition. And the way I'm going to do it is monolingual sentences for new words that I encounter, and then if there are any words in the definition I don't understand, those will be actually English, basically bilingual sentence cards. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and till later. Bye.